Thank you so much for taking some time for this call today. It's a great opportunity for me to learn from your experience as district manager. Just real quick, I want to confirm your previous consent for me to record this interview.
Yeah, you have my consent to record this meeting.
Okay, awesome. Great, thank you. Let's get started. So, who are you? Your name, current role, and what company you work for?
Justin Stanley, West Florida District Pro Solutions Manager for Herc Rentals.
For Herc Rentals. And what exactly does Herc Rentals do?
We rent equipment.
Um, and how long have you been there in your current role?
My current role, approximately 7 months now.
7 months now. Awesome. Awesome. And you're liking it?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Love to hear that. So which industry is representative of the organization? The equipment rental, construction industry. Where do you kind of put yourself at? Do you consider yourself more of sales or in the construction industry? Where do you consider equipment rentals to be?
Um, Herc Rentals is an equipment rental company. So we rent to construction, retail, um, industrial. I mean, we kind of fall in all of that.
Okay, nice. And how many branches do you have? How many branches are you overseeing as district manager?
I'm over 7 call centers,
7 call centers. Okay, very nice, very nice.
5 physical
Um,
locations.
and what was that?
5 physical locations, 7 call centers.
Okay, and how many, on average, how many employees at a branch?
Um, Across the entire district, I have 59 employees, and I have stores ranging from 24 employees down to 8 or 9 employees.
Okay, very nice. And she said you're doing this for about 7 months. So previous to the district manager position, what position were you in at Herc Rentals?
I was a branch manager for almost 3 years, and a CRC manager for 2 years, and then inside sales, what we call a senior coordinator today, for a little over 2 years as well. So my total time with Herc Rentals is around 8 years.
A majority, seems like a majority of that was spent in management.
Correct.
So can you describe your career progression again in the management roles at Herc Rentals? For example, uh, what was the kind of got you out of sales and into the management position?
I guess I forgot one of my roles. So senior coordinator slash inside sales, CRC manager, and then a territory sales rep for around 8 months as well. No, my desires has always been operations more so than sales, but I enjoy sales as well. Um, I felt like my biggest desire was to lead a team, see a team grow, hit goals, make a bunch of money,
Uh,
and yeah, repeat.
Awesome. So what are some of the biggest differences you see in managing, a single branch as you did as a branch manager opposed to managing an entire district?
Responsibility is definitely, you know, tripled. I've got more responsibility over ensuring that versus one branch is running, as it should. Now I've got 5 branches or 7 call centers I need to make sure is running as it should according to our standard operating procedures. Not only that, now I have 59 people I have to worry about versus 8 people that I have to worry about. At the end of the day, I have my 8 people that I've seen every single day. Now I have 59 people that I don't see every day. So I don't know where, I won't always know how each employee is doing and have as much hands-on or one-on-one time. And then at the same time, I want them to come to work and go home the same way that they showed up.
So obviously then a big part of your job is going to be kind of teaching and developing the current branch managers underneath you so that they can kind of trickle it down to their team. Right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, in this role, there's way more delegation. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just you manage at a distance versus in person. That makes
So I know
sense.
yeah, it does make sense. So I know you've only been doing it for about 7 months now, but do you have an example of somebody who you've already kind of seen some growth out of under your 7 months of leadership?
I wouldn't do the 7 months. Let's back up to as a branch manager, right? Because I've been in this role not very long, branch manager, over 3 years. So, um, other than yourself, right? Because I hired you and you progressed through the ranks fairly quickly. Let's go to somebody. Let's go to just try somebody different. So we'll use Cameron McGee as an example. I hired him as a CRC manager. He promoted to a TSR. Wasn't the most strongest TSR, but he did have more of his strengths, fell into the operation side. So we I worked with him as a CRC manager, got him to a TSR role, and then when I promoted, I did promote him to a branch manager role shortly thereafter. So that'd be a good one, similar to your path.
And when you're, keeping up with the branch managers and stuff like that, what key performance metrics or goals do you track at the district level to kind of gauge the team's growth potential?
So there's a lot of things that we use, right? So we have our internal auditing process, or what we can see on a daily check as far as how are the branches running compared to our standard operating procedures. We also have our safety KPI metrics that we can look at. These are things I look at daily. In addition to once a year, we also do an employee survey. And in that employee survey, that gives us feedback from our hourly employees that, like I coach my managers to coach their team. So seeing the feedback that we receive from the field, um, helps me know to where our weaknesses are at and what I need to focus on with my managers, my branch managers. It all starts at the top.
Absolutely. And what's one of your main techniques for motivating your team to achieve these goals?
Um, I mean, the feeling of winning, right? We have a very good bonus structure in place, right? So if we do everything we're supposed to do and run a very profitable, call center, then you can be rewarded, um, obviously by money, which is great.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So you just kind of try to make everybody see the light at the end of the tunnel, basically how hard their hard work can pay off. Quite
Yeah.
clearly.
So career development, is something that motivates everybody, wants to get to the next spot. Recognition in general. We have something called Spotlight Awards that we'll give out. We'll do team building events and things like that. That helps motivate everybody to work together as a team.
Absolutely. So kind of switching gears here, moving on to one of your greatest career achievements so far at Herc Rentals. What do you think that would be?
And I've got a few, but we'll list first year as a branch manager, received Rookie of the Year award. That was for highest NOP and rental revenue as well. So NOP being net operating profit. Had a very good year in 2021. One of our first years at a Greenfield location.
So that was one of your first years as a branch manager?
Correct.
And who was involved in that? Do you feel like anybody kind of helped you get to that level, being so new?
Um, So I had mentors, right? So one of the branch managers that hired me, that hurt criminals in general, is one of my mentors. He has since retired, and then I had another mentor that definitely helped. So both of them were branch managers. I also had a district manager at the same time, that would help as well. So yeah, it definitely wasn't through, all, myself, right? Because I would
Yeah.
raise my hand, ask for help, or I would ask for advice from more senior leadership and take that and apply that.
Awesome.
It's definitely
So,
benefited me.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I can tell. So what management principles, strategies, or processes did you employ that you believe that led you to that, to winning that Rookie of the Year?
The biggest one is consistency, remaining consistent and trusting the process, right? So we have our plan in place. We have our, again, I keep going back to our standard operating procedures of how to run your branch. Um, as a Not only was I a new branch manager at that time, I was also opening up a brand new location. So I didn't have employees. It originally started with just myself and a transferred mechanic that came in. Ultimately hired a sales rep, and yeah, it was a lot of overworked and underpaid times.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's yeah.
So consistency is key. All right. So now we're going to go over the leadership characteristics here. So I'm going to name off these 10 characteristics and just grade yourself 1 through 5 on kind of how much you used it. 1 being never used, 5 being always used in achieving that Rookie of the Year. So characteristic number 1, listening. Where would you rate yourself on that one?
Five,
Empathy,
five,
gotta care about your team. Healing,
uh, four,
awareness,
um, I'd say five on that one.
it's going like persuasion,
Four,
this is a big one for somebody starting out in a new location. Conceptualization.
five,
Gotta see. Foresight.
five,
Stewardship.
I'll say four,
Commitment to the growth of people.
definitely five,
Interest in building community.
four.
And then out of those 10 characteristics, listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to growth of people, and interest in building a community, what would you say one of those is that really stands out that you had to use to achieve that goal?
I'd say commitment to the growth of people. All the rest of that falls underneath that, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got to have a good team. Got to have a good team. So moving on here, we'll talk about a significant challenge that you faced. A significant challenge, preferably one with an ethical dilemma. So consider one significant challenge you previously faced, either in this role or the branch manager role. Like I said, preferably involving an ethical dilemma. How did you handle it? What was the situation?
One of the most recent ones that, in our line of work, we are problem solvers. So one of the most recent ones actually came out of your branch or your location would be you had a job walk and a customer was requesting a cooling tower. And unfortunately, we did not have that. So internally, we tried to put our minds together to develop a solution where we can still collect this revenue or win this deal. So we ended up developing. I guess this would fall into the not having equipment or not having the appropriate equipment or the requested equipment. So what can we do that will yield the same outcome? Well, we can take 2 chillers and put on that job, and yeah, we can still get the same results, but thinking outside the box with different equipment.
Absolutely. So kind of faced with whether you can help the customer or not, and kind of took some outside of the box thinking to be able to figure it out.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So same deal. We're gonna go through the leadership, the servant leadership questionnaire here, and just 1 through 5, kind of grade yourself here. Know there was a lot of parties involved, with that job walk, customer, time frame was really tight, all of that. So a lot of different things going on there. But we'll start at the first one. You're listening. 1 to 5. How do you grade yourself on that in this situation?
5.
Empathy.
Um, 5 sign.
Yeah, I'm sure you had to feel for those guys there. I mean, if there was a tight situation for them, real time crunch. Healing.
4. I don't know what we're healing, but yeah.
Awareness.
5.
Persuasion.
4.
Conceptualization.
5.
Foresight.
5.
Stewardship.
4.
Commitment to the growth of people.
5.
Interest in building community.
4.
Awesome. And out of those, what one really stands out to you that you used in that situation?
That reflects particularly this job.
Yep.
Listening.
Makes sense. A lot of stuff going on in that type of situation. All right, so moving on here. Mission, vision, strategy, and entrepreneurial mindset. So what is the mission, vision, and the strategy of Herc Rentals?
Say that one more time. You broke up.
What is the mission, vision, and strategy of Herc Rentals? That's a couple.
I mean, so we want to. Government, we have a saying for that, but in other words,
we do what's right. Isn't that it?
Yeah, that's one of them. But there's the 3. Used to have it in my other office. But so we want to be efficient. We want to be that government. What is it? Let's test you on that one. What is the 3?
E3OS.
Yeah.
So it's easy, expert, and efficient.
There you go. So in addition to that, we also we drive a very strong safety culture, amongst Herc Rentals, and we drive development. In addition to that, we also want to be strong supporters of our communities. We want to help build our community. So yeah, there you go.
In your mind, how essential is the entrepreneurial mindset in achieving the mission and the vision and the strategy that Herc Rentals has?
It's very important because you have to treat each branch manager that you have essentially owns his own little business. That's his store. He has a P&L. He's responsible for that P&L. He has employees other than holding the checkbook physically in his hand. He owns what that branch produces. So you don't typically you'll have managers with entrepreneur mindsets in those roles, preferably looking at the future and being very forward thinking and looking at growth, not just coming to work every day, punching a time card and leaving.
Absolutely. You got to treat it like it's your own. All right. So referring to the entrepreneurial mindset tab here, on a scale from 1 to 5, if you could just rate yourself on different things here. So openness to experience.
I definitely said 1 to 5. So 5.
5 there. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The need to achieve.
5,
Innovative and creative ability.
5,
Risk propensity.
say 4,
Proactivity and work ethic.
5,
Entrepreneurial self-efficiency. Efficacy. Sorry. Efficacy.
say 4,
For there. Um, internal locus of control.
4.
So out of those uh, characteristics here, what would you say is the most important one to you in achieving Rental's mission, vision, and goals?
So one thing that helped me was the openness to experience. So being curious, you got to be willing to make some very tough decisions. You want to weigh risk, but you don't want risk to overweigh you. So one thing I'd like to say is like life with no risk is no life at all. In order to, for example, start in a greenfield location, you have to understand that like it's not gonna be very profitable at the very beginning. There's gonna be obstacles that will challenge you, and you can't let those determine where your future goes. Right now, there is obviously some black and white risk. Right, you can say no, definitely not gonna take a risk on that one, but I'll take a risk here. So yeah, no, you got to be creative, man. You've got to jump out there and test the waters.
So any additional lessons or attributes? So apart from the servant leadership and the entrepreneurial mindset, could you identify 2 significant lessons or attributes that are essential for the success of leaders in this industry?
Not anything that really comes to mind, right? So one thing that I've always, from the time I started this company, or I started with this company, with each manager that I have had, I have always thought to myself, if I ever get to that role, this is what I'll do, and this is what I won't do. If I ever become a manager, this is how I will talk to an employee, or this is how I will not talk to an employee. Each manager that I've always had kind of gave me a tool for my toolbox on what would work, like what I would do differently than him. And for example, it could be as how to talk to an employee, right? Or it could be when an employee is talking to you and giving you input, how do you respond? Do you cut them off mid-sentence? Do you make the employee feel heard, or do you make their value or their opinion, or I'm sorry, their opinion feel valued or not valued? So like listening. I've never been, a micromanager. I've never been the type that has be belittled employees. Um, and it's hard, right? Because when you get into this role, especially at the very beginning, you're into I keep referring back to the branch manager role because that's the one that have real strong experience in. When starting up a greenfield location, usually you don't get a whole team of people right at the very beginning, so you're filling all those roles. Um, and it's hard, and as you start hiring people and you start training people, you have to let it them do the job, right? And you have to coach them on the mistakes that they make. So it can be challenging to, I say, let the reins go, right? Let the employee do what they're supposed to be doing. And then when they make mistakes, that's when you coach them up. And then you develop them for the next role. So when I hire people, or when I was hiring people, I kind of like to say, let's look at the next 2 roles, like where will you fit in? If I'm hiring you for a yard guy, can you be my next mechanic? Can you be a shop supervisor? If I'm hiring you as a mechanic, can you be a shop supervisor or a field lead? or even higher, can you become a branch manager, right? So those are things I feel like has helped me to be successful. Um, Maybe at the very beginning, I might have, hiring people being a little nervous on confrontation, right? That's not necessarily something that I always avoided, but I could have been a little too lenient on, people at times, right? Because I don't feel like a good manager just says off with their head and then, you make a mistake, you're gone. I do believe in multiple chances. And I think that's part of maturing and learning in your career and developing and becoming, um, great employees that really contribute to the growth of this company. So,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Really, one last question here. So, can you describe anything you wish you would have specifically avoided that may have derailed or delayed your success?
I don't have anything that comes to mind on that.
That's good.
Nothing that,
Probably.
no, I don't have anything that's ever come close to derailing my career, thankfully.
Oh, yeah, obviously not, right? You're at the top now, so. Awesome. Well, thank you again. This has been incredibly insightful. Do you have any final thoughts or questions for me?
I do not.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin.
You're welcome.